NCERT, my colleagues, and of course, dear participants. It's really a nice feeling to finally meet you here in person. After all that engagement via email. So before we begin with the actual sequence of this inaugural function, I would just like to say a few words. This seminar has been proposed in the backdrop of the National Education Policy 2020. And as we are all aware of, the document calls for a drastic revision and overhauling of our entire educational structure. But central to the document is the overarching importance laid on competency-based education. To put it in its most simplistic form, it's not just about what students learn, how they learn, but how they are able to demonstrate what they learn on the basis of specific predetermined competencies. Now, this emphasis is of course not unique to India alone. There is a huge clamor on competency-based education all over the world. Some started it much earlier, some a bit later. While there are some countries which are still looking the other side, that apart, nevertheless, competency-based education or competency-based learning has become a catchword today in the field of education. And why there is such an emphasis, there is also a universal consensus. As you all are aware, we are living in a times of unprecedented changes, social, political, economic, and environmental. And somehow, although our educational system has no doubt changed, we have not been stagnant, but it's not changing fast enough. So it is hoped that with this change to competency-based education, future generation, they will be able to nurture them in the way where they will have the necessary knowledge, skills, and dispositions required, not just for the world of work, I mean, that is important, but also how to manage the day-to-day life. Because one of the big problems we see, even till today, is that there is still a huge disjunction between what is taught in schools and what happens, once they step out of the schools. So the reality is very different from actually what our students learn in schools. So I will stop here because we have very esteemed speakers who will be, giving us very significant insights. So on that note, I request our principal, Professor N.G. Dakar, to kindly accompany our esteemed guests, Professor to the dais, Professor T.P. Goyal, Professor Nilima Bhagavati, and Professor N. Pradhan. I please request you also to come to the dais. First of all, now I would request our principal to kindly give the welcome address.
Thank you, Dr. Seema, the coordinator of this national conference. A very good morning, namaste, and kublai yapilang baro. On behalf of the Northeast Regional Institute of Education, I stand here to welcome each one of you to this national seminar. And before I begin, uh, I would like to bring the greetings from our director, Professor D.P. Saklani. In fact, Sir wanted to be here with us, but because of the work, it is not possible for him to be present physically. And today in the morning, he just gave me a call saying that he will not be able to join us online because of some illness that he is having. Anyway, he has sent his greetings. He has sent his best wishes to all of us present over here. Uh, Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, we have here with us Professor D.P. Goyal, the director of the Indian Institute of Management, Shillong. He is our esteemed chief guest for this national seminar on shifting focus in school curriculum from content-based learning to competency-based learning. So we heartily welcome you. Thank you so much that you are here with us. You've always been there with us, supporting us and encouraging us. The last time that Sir was here with us, it was in the month of September when we celebrated our foundation day. And again, it is such a joy. And we are really delighted to have Sir with us again, because listening to him is really a learning experience. Our keynote speaker for today is Professor Nilima Bhagawati, a well-known educationist from Assam, and permit me to say that Madam is not only the face for the state of Assam, but she is the face for the Northeast and yes, for our country also. Madam, we heartily welcome you. Thank you so much, Madam. The last time that you were here with us, it was during the national seminar when we had on mental health and well-being in the second week of December. And today again, Madam is there with us as the keynote speaker. Madam, we are very hopeful that with the insights that you will be giving us today, this will set the tone for this two-day national seminar. Joining us online today, it will be Professor Sharat Sinha. She is the head of the Department of Teacher Education, NCERT, and we welcome her. She will be joining us online, and she will be sharing with us the role and the stand that NCERT is taking in this area. A total number of 70 paper presenters comprising of educationists, comprising of teacher educators, comprising of research scholars, people who work with different NGOs, people who are there from the faculty from different universities have been invited to this program. We have here with us 45 of them who will be presenting their papers in person. So at this time, may I request all the participants who have come to kindly stand wherever you are. Can we give them a round of applause, please? They have come from many places across the country, from Pondicherry to Delhi to Gujarat to so many places, and Odisha, Kolkata, Assam, and we will also be joining with the ones from Shillong. Thank you so much. You may be seated. It is your presence and your contribution that we know that we will be of one mind after the end of this two-day conference to really understand on this so very important theme, the shifting focus from content-based learning to competency-based learning. Because like what Madam just mentioned, some of the states have adopted this, some of the states have started with this, and some of the states are going to start. And some of us, we are still very confused. So this is a platform of coming together and meeting together. We expect 45 participants to join us here, and we know that some of them, they have informed that they will join us sometime during the day and even tomorrow morning. So for those who will be coming later, we also extend a warm welcome to each one of them. In addition to the 45 participants, we also have 25 of our paper presenters who will be joining us online. So for those who have joined us now for the inaugural function, we welcome you and we hope that you will be with us on both these 2 days, and not that you will be present with us only during the inaugural and during the time when you have to present your paper, because the culmination of this 2-day conference is when we come together with some important, very roadmaps that we should be taking in this very important area in school education. We have with us the faculty members. We have Professor Anita Nuna, who has come from NCERT, all right, New Delhi. Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, and we are also being joined by the other faculty members from the NCERT, and we welcome them online. We have the very senior professors with us, the senior colleagues, the junior colleagues of the Institute, all of us, and we extend a warm welcome to each one of them. We will also be joined by junior project with some of the invitees later in the day. So with this, I welcome each one of you, and I hope that your coming, it will be fruitful, it will be effective, and not only that it will be fruitful and effective, but we will be able to be the change bearers from this conference to bring out the change, to bring this change, this paradigm shift, which is so much needed, especially for our children, to be able to face, especially the challenges of the 21st century. I hope that the 2-day will be good, and I know that we are not able to meet some of your standards when it comes to your stay arrangements. It's just that because we do not have the guest house, it's still in the process and it's not really completed. So this is the reason. And I hope that apart from that, it's meeting and talking and, deliberating the issues, which is more important. Thank you.
So now we will have a felicitation of our guests. So We from NERIE-NCERT, we just have a small token of our appreciation and love. So I would request Elsa, please. The seminar in terms of what are the process that went, from the beginning till date. And this is very important to know because then you'll understand the significance of this day to day and how important your contribution is. So to begin with, yes, to begin with, actually, when I initially proposed this seminar, it was for only 45 participants and offline. The reason I chose this number and not more is because I wanted you to have quality time in presentation and quality time in discussion. That is very important. It's no point, just coming for the sake of it and getting 5 minutes or 10 minutes. We do need time to discuss and then only we can learn. However, when we started receiving the papers, it reached to almost 200. And yes, it was a bit overwhelming, but nevertheless, from NERI, we had a very good, select committee we had who scrutinized the papers on, based on many criteria. Just for instance, like of course, how relevant it is to the theme, and like the rigor of a paper in terms of the references and so many other things. But also, and in particular, what I was looking for, that's something out of the box, something innovative, something different. So yes, actually, it did feel bad because there were so many good papers, but there's a limit of what we can take. And therefore, what we decided is we will take another 25, not for offline, okay, not for offline, but for online. So we left it at that. So online, offline, and that is how it has been structured. But also, while I was preparing the schedule, uh, the problem was that in like we have four sub themes. So in some sub themes, like especially the last two, there were so many papers, whereas in the first and second, particularly the first, there was very few. So what happens if I go according to the exactness of the sub themes? So what will happen is that those in three or four will hardly get any time, whereas those in one or two, it just be too much the time that is there. So to be fair, again, I had to be flexible. So I had to shift, even where, although it doesn't particularly cater to that sub theme, but I had to shift so that everyone gets that quality time. Then, of course, there was this last minute adjustments like, online to offline, vice versa, or like someone has to leave tomorrow due to some emergency, so I have to put them that. So, of course, the online session will be having in the ICT lab, and the offline session will be having in conference hall 1. And chairing the sessions, we have a faculty from NERIE, and then we're also very privileged to have Professor Anithanuna who will be, chairing the sessions. And I will tell you that you will get many, many insights from her. So, and that being said, now regarding the objectives of the program, it's actually outlined in the sub themes of the seminar, which is there in your brochure. So we have 4 sub themes, and if you see there, even within the sub theme, there are those points there, some specific points. So that itself indicates the objective of this seminar here. So my one request to you, however, is that supposing you have finished your paper or your paper is in the second day, I will really request you to at least participate in the discussions or any queries you have. Then it becomes fruitful because that's how we learn by asking, by discussing. That is how we are going to learn. So I'll end here because we have very significant speakers here. So in this note, uh, we have now Madam Sharat Sinha, Head of Department Teacher Education, who will be joining us online. And this is a very significant topic, that is NCRT's role in the paradigm shift from in the paradigm shift in school education. So I'm sure that you all are very eager to hear this. I myself, I am. So yeah, that's it. Yeah. Good morning, ma'am.
Yeah, good morning, Seema ji. Is it my turn to speak now?
Sorry.
Is it my turn to speak now?
Oh, yes, yes, definitely. Sorry, definitely. We are so, happy to have you here, and everyone is really eagerly waiting to hear
Okay,
you.
ma'am. Give me a minute. Give me a minute.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Yeah.
Namaskar and good morning to all the esteemed dignitaries on the dais. Uh, the principal of NERIE Shillong, Professor Floret Dakar, uh, the coordinator of the program, Madam Seema Sehgal, Madam Nilima ji, I see her on the dais, all the senior professors, Professor S.C. Roy, Professor Nityanand Pradhanji, Professor Dakar, and my colleagues at NERIE Shillong. I'm very thankful for you, or thankful to all of you for providing me this opportunity to share my views about the paradigm shift brought out by the NEP 2020, and which is speaking of lot of changes. The national education policy, which has been brought about, has been talked about for more than 2 years now. And as of now, we have been talking so much about the policy on various webinars, various forums, various blogs, writing in various newspapers, and trying to understand from our own perspective as teachers and teacher educators. So the policy has talked of multiple reforms, and these have been envisaged in the recent budget, union budget, which was tabled in the parliament yesterday, also had the highest ever allocation in the last in the history in the field of education. So education as a field which has immense importance has been taken care of by the government also. We should be very happy for it. And now when we talk of the policy, there are a lot of things which have happened. There are a lot of things which have been talked about. We have tried to understand from its our own perspectives. Being a member of NCERT, we have been right from the policy making inception state. For this policy, we have been associated. We have been collecting data from various grassroots level all over the state and union territories 6 years back, taking the opinion of stakeholders face to face. Later on, through various devices, through various social media platforms, various templates, we took the opinion of lots of all the stakeholders all over the country. This is a policy which has people opinion reflected. Now, after 6 years, 6 long years of effort which we had put in, the policy was in front of us as draft national education policy, later on culminated into 63 pages document as National Education Policy 2020, which has appeared which was launched on 29th of July 2 years back. Now it's almost 2.5 years now of we have celebrated 2 and a second anniversary also of launching of policy. There were two documents. Whenever we go to the field, we are asked that how is this policy being implemented? When is the policy being implemented? For that, like the earlier policy which had plan of action, this policy also had two documents subsequently, immediately after the policy was launched, that was Sarthak 1 and Sarthak 2. These two documents gave the guidelines and the roadmap of the policy implementation. And when it came to policy implementation, which body is assigned which work, that was every body which has been assigned the work was also very clearly laid down. And when this was clearly laid down, there were timelines also laid down. NCRT, as a body of immense importance in the field of school education and an apex body in the field of school education, we got the responsibility of four curriculum frameworks apart from other efforts and other tasks which we were endowed with. Now, what has the policy spoken in terms of change in the paradigm? That is something which I have to focus. Before that, the thing which we were asked to do was four curriculum frameworks were basically given to us. That is framework for the education as being seen as holistic perspective. The earliest for the foundation level, then the secondary curriculum framework, that is curriculum framework for school education, then curriculum framework for adult education, and curriculum framework for teacher education, that was with the NCTE. So these four, this responsibility, this is an immense responsibility, because ultimately after the curriculum framework is the comes the turn of making the syllabi for various courses at various level, and after the syllabi we get the books. So we are the NCRT, along with major bodies, is in the process of developing various curriculum framework. We have got the ECC curriculum framework already, and which was released on 20th of November, and it is well within the rights of everyone, which is a big 300 plus page document which all of us have read, and I've definitely seen lot of changes. There are Nipun Bharat guidelines, lot of emphasis has been laid at the foundation stage. So, what is the change? First of all, let us talk. What are the changes which have been brought about? The policy, I would just go in points that what are the major areas in which the policy has envisaged the changes. The first is the policy talks of a multidisciplinary and a holistic approach. Holistic approach means it covers everything and under one umbrella. That is, it talks of multidisciplinary education, which incorporate multidisciplinary in terms of range of subjects, in terms of skills, and rather it's not more on the cognitive domain. We have been harping on the cognitive domain always. Affective domain and psychomotor domains were hands-on activity, the emotions, the affective domains, the empathy, everything was took a back seat because they were definitely emphasized, but since they were never measured, they were never assessed or never evaluated formally, so they never came on the forefront. That was one point that this policy has brought forth, because the 2.5 years of pandemic has brought forth the importance of the effective domain, the qualities, the areas like mental health, the quality of empathy, resilience, values. They have taken a forefront, and we need to really develop. Suddenly these values will not erupt. One has to develop right from the school education, right from the inception. These values have to be inculcated in the students. So for that case, the teacher also should be aware of it. If in order for the teacher to be aware of these values and inculcation of these values, the teacher must, it should also find a place in the activities of the classroom, in the curriculum, in the syllabus, and in all the curricular materials followed by the syllabus. So, and then the one more thing, which the second most important point, which I feel is a bigger shift and which is focused in the policy, is the mother tongue based education. It promotes the use of mother tongue or the regional language as a medium of instruction in the primary education. And I will, all of you must be aware that from this year onwards, there are 200 channels which are totally devoted to education. And NCRT has given the big responsibility of training the personnel for developing the resources, developing the e-resources. Just imagine 200 channels are big monsters to feed. You have to have e-resources. You have to have people who can conduct, who can prepare these resources. See, we have technology people. We just cannot trust them with educational resources because they can provide us a tech platform. As pedagogues, as teachers, as teacher educators, we have to put in the human element in that. So that combination of the human element, the pedagogy, and technology is something that we teacher and teacher educators have to see. This shift has been brought about the policy that technology is at the forefront, but the teacher is the driver. And the NCRT's role in preparing these resources, preparing e-content, preparing teachers and teacher educators to prepare those resources. Get aware, we are hosting multiple training programs, we are providing softwares, we are providing material, and we are providing the soft material for all these resources to be aired in all those 200 channels. This is a big task, and this is addressing to the paradigm shift which is being brought about in the NEP 2020. Now, integration of technology, all of us are using technology these days. Teachers who were technophobic also have termed techno savvy during the COVID pandemic. We all of us know some or the other technological skills to some or the other extent. But technology integration to the extent is not important. The policy has brought forth the importance of efficiency in using the technological devices to the optimum. There are, if you have a smartphone, you have more than 135 plus functions which could be performed by this smartphone. But usually what we do is either we do a Google call, we use it for messaging through various platforms. We used to see our Facebook, Insta, or email, or call someone. 4 or 5 functions only we use. There are n number of functions: digital payment, recording. Now technology is growing leaps and bounds. For the last 10-15 days, I've been reading a lot about chat gpt. So chat gpt is basically artificial intelligence coming up. Now artificial, when technology, when we are struggling in a country with a digital divide, where we are struggling with the existence of resources. There are resources which are very few. Some people do not have access to the resources, and we have the elite schools which have all the resources. They have all the modern software or the modern gadgets to their disposal. So we have to really work out. We don't need one single resource will not serve the whole nation. We need multiple resources. We need special resources for the vulnerable group. We need special resources for the disabled. We need special resources for those who are already technological professionals. So wide array of resources, wide array of skills and competency to use these resources. When, where, how, to what extent, it is very important. If we have a device in our hand, that doesn't mean we are totally dependent upon that device only. Because in Pariksha Pe Charcha also recently, Honorable Prime Minister was talking that the teachers are coming to the class and they are looking for the answers on the mobile phone, because mobile phones are very much permissible in the classroom for teachers as well as students. You cannot deny. And if something is lost or something is deleted, what happens? You are at loss of words. So technology, we have become, we do not have, we have to prepare teachers who utilize technology, use technological devices, are proficient in integrating various skills, technological skills, into the classroom as per the need, not become dependent upon technology. Because yesterday I was listening to a podcast about chat gpt, in which it was telling that artificial intelligence will now take over, and there will be need of teachers or not. There was a debate which was going on, because anything you see, when Google came, everybody was thinking that if you just type something on Google, you get the answers, you get multiple sites for giving that answer. Chat gpt is 100 steps in front. You type a question, you get a specific answer of everything which is available on the internet in one paragraph on that topic. So that makes the task much more simple. There was a discussion for in the next 2 years, companies like Google will be outdated. So as teachers, we have to think that what is the technology thing which is required, what much to be integrated, what are the soft skills which always take a fourth seat. That has to be thought, debated, and definitely brought to the fore. Because taking one new skill every day, that is not the solution. Taking those competencies, thinking of those competencies which will be required 5 years of now, 2 years of now, just foreseeing them and inculcating them is very much important. Now, one more, the policy also talks about a paradigm shift in the classroom teaching, and harps more on critical thinking, problem solving. Those are the 21st century skills which have been talked about at length on various forums. So that is just rote learning. It doesn't emphasize learning on rote learning. It talks about it talks a lot about developing creative thinking and problem solving. As teachers, as teacher educators, and as NCRT, whenever the books are coming, we have tried to earlier also. We have tried to give problems. We have tried to give windows for critical thinking and problem solving in our textbook. Probably they will find more reflection in the coming textbooks being prepared when they are being prepared by NCERT. More relation, the previous NCF had also talked about experiential learning, that connecting to the classroom to the practical situation. Now, exactly the same thing the policy talks about experiential learning, 10 bagless days, that is more connect to the nature, connect to the environment, connect to the surroundings, connect to the local people, and connect to the community. So these for this, NCRT has already brought about guidelines for using how to conduct 10 bagless days in school, because NCRT was also pioneer in learning without burden. We contributed to the learning without burden report also by Professor Yashpal, and later on now we are also up with guidelines for 10 bagless days. Reduced curriculum load is something which is being talked about. There's so much of information now. There is no dearth of information. Everybody has information at their fingertips. Now, if you wish to reduce the see, putting so much into the mind is not going to help a student. Learning something by rote is not going to help. Learning is of course important to an extent, but the information processing is something which needs to be talked about. Information processing is something in which you have to train your students to be well adept. So that is something that will be reflected in our coming documents. And one more thing, that is vocational education. That is we have talked about pre-vocational education right from sixth class onwards. The NCRT has a complete unit devoted to skill, that is PSSCIVE, located at Bhopal. They develop various job roles, skills, training of vocational instructors, skill based curriculum. They are into the process of developing various job roles, upcoming job roles also. And in light of new this national education policy, the there is a lot of focus on skill development also, which the institute is taking care. One important area which I would say, how much time do I have, uh, Simaji?
Mine maybe another 5 minutes.
Okay, fine. So one more area which I would like to speak about, that is content to competency-based education system. Now there's a huge when there is so much of information load, there is something that you need to develop in the student year after year. It's not like uh, I know about this, I know about this, I know about this, I know about A, B, C, D, E, and F. And when it is coming, when you want to speak about something, you just keep on remembering that yes, I had read it somewhere, yes, my teacher had taught somewhere, but I am not able to recollect. Not being able, it's just putting a lot of information overload in the mind. So why not think in terms of all those competencies which are required to sail through? Just give an example that there were four people crossing a boat, crossing a river on a boat. One was a physicist, one was a biologist, one was a astronomer, and one was the simple boatman. While they were crossing a road, they were talking, crossing the river. They were talking. The physicist was talking that, oh, the density of the water here is this much. I can exactly calculate how dense the river is. This, so on and so forth. The biologist said, I can talk about what type of fishes are found in this water. I can talk about the flora and fauna of this water. The astronomer was telling that yes, the stars, he was talking about the position of stars, sun, and moon, and tides, and everything, about everything he was talking. Then he said, they asked the boatman that, what do you know? We are such learned people. The boatman said, I don't know anything, I only know how to row the boat. Since suddenly a hole happened in the, somehow there was a hole in the boat, and the boat started, the water started entering the boat. The citizens started calculating the water is coming inside the boat with the speed, by this time we will, and as per the density of water, as per these calculation, we will be down in the water in another 25 minutes. The biologists started saying that yes, the point which we are approaching, there is dense, there are fishes, there are big fishes, and there is a probability of finding crocodiles also in the river. Apart from that, the astronomer said now it is the time of high tide, so and so forth, and if we are moving in another 15 minutes, we are over. Then they asked, what do you know now? We have done everything. And they started shouting. Then this person says that I know only the skill of going through, crossing the river with the help of boat, and in case the boat goes down, my skill is that I can swim and cross the road. So at times, even the knowledge doesn't help. It is the skill and competencies which you have mastered over the years is going to help. Everything which you have studied may not come in the examination, but that application, the competencies to go through it, to understand it, to try to solve it, and try to find out the points of solution is those competencies which we have to develop in our children in the coming years. Then the NCRT is also taking a big step in aligning all the curriculum with the assessment. As we are talking of 360-degree assessment, the assessment not only in the classroom, not only on the paper pencil, not only on what you have learned, this assignment will be on the basis of your problem solving, your it will be this will be done by your peers, your fellow persons, your the community members, your neighbors. It's a 360 assignment which will be assessment which will be done. So for that you have to be very careful at times. Not only your what you write on the paper in the examination will be taken care of. What will be taken care of is your, the way you carry, the way you handle the problems, the way you solve the problems. Then assessment, there is a focus. There's always a focus in our country. There's always a focus on high stake examination. Everybody runs, quota. Cities like Kota, cities like Delhi, are factories, like factories are churning out people, students for IITs and high stake examination. But that is not the policy aims to prepare them. Not a parallel system is evolving. A parallel system is running. That is, people are studying in the classroom, people are running to the coaching institute. So this, the policy is changing the way assessment is done in order to reduce the stress and focus on high stake examination. The NCRT is also doing, it's like we have our own national achievement survey which is based on competency based assignment assessments, and we are coming up in our books also. The assessment is not only for, the assessment is not only of learning, assessment is as integrated as assessment of learning and assessment for learning. One more issue which I feel is very important, that use of technology in assessment and emphasis on self-assessment, that is development of qualities like resilience. I think there is some disturbance.
Yes, quite a bit. So, yes, quite a bit. The sound, and many other issues. Like there's a lot of sound emanating.
So then we also talk of inclusivity, and we talk of inclusion across our resources which NCRT is developing as a paradigm shift, is taking care of all. It is taking, try to make it all inclusive, so that it is useful for all the sections of society. So whenever we discuss, or if there are some questions, they can be put up in the chat box. And I feel that right now we are in the starting of the implementation of national education policy. The NCERT supports the policy and is on way of making its fruitful implementation and taking it to the masses, so that we can develop a quality education system in our country. So with this, I thank you all for providing me this opportunity.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am, for giving a comprehensive overview, beginning from the whole process of the making of the NP, then the implementation. That is, what is the roadmap, the major areas for change, and also how we, that is at the level of NCRT, seek to disseminate and actualize this policy through various mediums, and in particular, a lot of emphasis on technology. Thank you so much, ma'am. So now we have the keynote address by Professor Nilima Bhagavati, Emeritus Professor, Guwahati University. But before I call ma'am, I will just give a brief, update about, ma'am's whole achievement, because it is so impressive that when I got the information and I was going through that, I was really held in awe. So briefly, I'll just read it. Ma'am was awarded the National Awardee for contribution in the field of education and research, and also Commonwealth Fellow Awardee 2006. She has also won the National Best Teacher Educator Award and CTEF, that is Council for Teacher Education Foundation, Kerala Chapter's Best Emeritus Teacher Educator Award 2019. She has 25 international paper presentation, 37 national paper, 32 journal publication, and so on. She also holds the position of Dr. ASEAN Region of Commonwealth Council for Educational Administration and Management, International Secretary General against CTEF, Director, Education Society, Assam, and so on. The list goes on. And also, I'd like to say that a book that was published last year, that's really phenomenal, but edited by Utpal Kalita, and actually there are 70 contributors, and they all have written about the achievement and works of man. So I cannot give you any more detail in the book. So that is there, because just yesterday I happened to go through it, and I said yes, I must really go through that. So I request you, ma'am, to please yes. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry for the little arrangement I'm making over here, so that I don't go out of power, practically. Okay. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri. I put down my head to all the gurus over here and stand before you to present the keynote, which I could not, I don't know whether I'll be able to give justice or not, but somehow late night I sat down and some thoughts were bubbling in my mind. I have put that with some references. Yes, Professor T.P. Goyal, Director, IIM, Shillong. We have with us Professor F.J. Bakar, Principal, and a good friend of mine. I should say that we're friends for a very long time. We have with us Seema Saigal, the excellent coordinator, as I can hear her from the beginning of the session, and the wonderful faculty members who are here, and I should say Mini Bharat, all the Bharat, most of the states are represented. It is wonderful to see you, in fact, coming all the way to Shillong, and your presence is very much inspiring, not only for NERIE, but for all of us also to take up some other programs next time, either on teacher education or on NEP 2020. And I do hope you will come that time. Okay. I think you can see that theme. I'm supposed to be the keynote speaker on the theme. And three words which inspires me very greatly. It's not my words. These are the words of our Honorable Prime Minister of the country, Sri Narendra Modi ji. Reform, perform, transform. This inspires me like anything, and wherever I go, and I'd like to always mention these three terms, and it is very much relevant to the theme which this national conference is having. So I put it as reimagining learning, reform, perform, and transform. Friends, lots of, even the previous speakers mentioned about teacher education and NEP. I will not go much, but little bit I will touch on experiential learning later on. But one thing is very much visible, that the 21st century has ushered in lots of changes around, and education is not an exception. We already know that the teaching learning, what practically we did at one time, once upon a time in school education, that is no longer being accepted by the generation learners right now. They all have become digitalized. They have all become, very much, they do not want to stick to the too much of lectures in the classroom. So time has come in this 21st century to change the entire pattern, either in school education or in higher education. Both are equally important, because we haven't seen, though I'm associated with higher education for a pretty long time, I haven't seen any remarkable changes going on in the higher education, except some very good research works. Anyway, friends, one thing we have to know, that no longer the learning, or you can say the teaching, is one-way traffic road. It is both ways. And learning no longer is within the classroom. It has gone, or it should go beyond the classroom. And the teacher's role is no longer from one side only, as we used to hear very obediently. Again, I'm using the word once upon a time, right? But teachers now are more than teachers, that is facilitators. We all know about it. They should be mentors. They should be also the critical coach. And they should be very much competent in skilling the students, which today's national conference is giving emphasis on. Therefore, learners must develop the real process of learning in this 21st century, and the real learning that I will just touch a little bit later on. And they have to know a number of skills. The previous speaker gave a wonderful, sort of about the boat riding, the 4 persons from 4 disciplines, right? So we need adaptations in our life. We have to adjust with any situations in life. So therefore, in any situation, we have to gear ourselves as skilled person, very much skilling person. And for that, we have to learn. Critical thinking is very, important. We have been ignoring critical thinking with so much of tuitions and coachings going on around the schools nowadays. Even for admission, there's a school in Guwahati. When I was teaching in university, I used to see the school is always crowded at 5 p.m. And later on, I went myself and inquired, what is the reason? The name of the school is there, but no, they are all, craving for admission in the law school. They're craving for admission in some other school, so they are taking tuitions. Just imagine 3 years old kid. They are going for tuitions. So we have to come out from all this if we really want learning to be the real learning and give them and how to learn. That is has been also said in NEP 2020. NEP and to be the object is, how to learn. Like it is the practical situation they have to understand. It is not the teacher who will just pinpoint everything, dictate note now. He or she have to help, assist, how to have the concept of learning, how to learn the concept of learning, how to have the basic foundation of that particular content. So these are some of the and like retaining the knowledge is also very important. We do talk about it, and attaining mastery, or you can say competence in a particular area of subject before moving to the next level. We usually don't put hit to it. Our children must master or be competent in the areas dealing before he or she moves into the other area. There are just 2 or 3 how the learning should be. I'll just touch it. You all know, you must have got it even this. Yeah, I took it from the internet, this particular word, self-paced. That is learning in own time and in scheduled proceeding, let's say from one segment to the other segment at one speed, which we call self-paced. That learners should be always, motivated. I'm using the motivated and given opportunities to seek sources, where to go for the sources to collect the knowledge. That is also we're ignoring. We have to help them, whether it is online database, whether it is community members who will provide the sources to either to solve problems or also the particular task given. All these we have to give our children, our students the opportunity to collect the data, the knowledge, and they must be developed as active, very active. I'm using the word very, very active knowledge seekers. So if we just see the transition which has come to our learning area now, we all know about the constructivism. We did it. So the learners, they have to construct knowledge through interaction. And with teachers with various sources. Okay? Constructivism, it is still some people, though long time back this word has come to us, it was presented before us, but very few teachers are yet to know. Whom I asked about what is constructivist, what is constructivism, how the knowledge can be constructed. And also, one thing, it is no more the 50s, 60s, 80s, or 90s. That era has gone. We, the learners, must be a very active part and parcel of learning. Or you can say they should be the partners in the learning process. You cannot keep away them. You cannot keep away on the one hand the learners and you go on saying something. You don't even understand what you are telling them. No, that process has gone to telling. And these are really always stressed when I go for the teacher training programs. Like you have to change. Dakar has used the word change maker. Be the change. And all of us have to bring the change ourselves, then it will come. Now one thing is going on because I have done through the platform of Council for Teacher Education Foundation, project-based learning. The resource person from Singapore, he is from Maharashtra, and Professor Deepak Vaikor. So it is so beneficial, like project-based learning, that is real world experience. How the teacher can take them to the practical situation. So when we see that teachers should be aware, so that through such innovative ways, they have to make the learners, make the students learn the real world, the real situations. So it is almost it is an instructional approach designed to give students the opportunity to develop knowledge and skills through engaging projects which you can set around, or the problems they face in the real world. So PBL, project-based learning, it is one step ahead through which we can make our teachers to change, will help the students in thinking deeply about the content and encourage critical thinking, which is very important. We have to come out, our students must come out from this set thinking box, the ready-made box. They have to learn how to think. From that, they have to go to the meta thinking. In psychology, the meta thinking is also coming now. Now, therefore, the communication with the collaboration skills, all these, through this project-based learning, the students can be developed. Therefore, friends, you all must have read and know very well our historic NEP 2020, and it is the NEP which clearly stated that it is becoming increasingly critical that our children not only learn, but importantly, they should learn how to learn. How to learn. This is what is exactly the education. Swami Vivekananda, he said, you know what he said? The greatest mistake the teachers make is that they think they are teaching the children. They have to come out from the web of the word teaching and help our children, our students, how to learn. The competency will automatically come in that. We are talking about the competency over here. It is the keyword, and automatically it will come. And also in NEP 2020, we have read and we have also observed that pedagogy involved in the learning process to be experiential. It should be integrated, right? It should be inquiry driven or inquiry drive. It should be discovery oriented. Let them discover, find out. Discussion based. It should be flexible and it should be enjoyable. This is the word the children look for when they get into the class. It should be very joyful when they learn it. And even the NEP has mentioned all these ways how the pedagogy evolved in the learning process to be and how it should be carried on. Therefore, the main purpose of education needs to be emphasized on the development of each student or each individual with focus on curriculum, pedagogy, reforms as well. This is where our role, we the teachers, we all are experienced teachers over here, sitting over here, we know very well. Now it is our time has come for us to mentor the other coming up teachers. NEP is giving again stress on mentor and mentees. They are taking up again another mission. Another mission will come very soon, mentor and mentees, because the NCET member secretary I received a mail from her that we have to take up from the end of the NCET how to groom up the mentors and how they can develop their mentees, the students, which I mean. So knowledge, before that, I want to say, this purpose I have told you, yes, the next point which I want to say, experiential learning. Experiential learning, I think you have read, he also wrote a book, David Kolb, Kolb. Okay? And he actually, he was the first person who brought out this word experiential learning, leading to competency. Okay? So it is nothing, it is a process by learning by doing. In very simple word, learning by doing. When we engage students on hands-on practices, right? And reflection comes, it's very important for it. They can quickly able to connect the theories and knowledge learned in the classroom with the real world. It is obvious. Only we have to put it into translation. How we can, the learning by doing, starting from learning by doing, you can or we can take it to the real world situation and our students will learn it. So it is again a transformative learning. Again, experiential learning as very vividly and clearly written in the NEP 2020. It is what? It is a transformative learning, and it engages the learners with direct experiences. The direct experiences and focus on reflection to enhance knowledge. And this is what is important in learning situation. And friends, if we go a little bit further in David A. Kohler's experiential learning, he just followed 4 steps. The first one was concrete experience. I just got this 4 from his writing only. Next follows is reflection, reflective. The third step will be abstract conceptualization. And the fourth step, active experimentation. So in that case, the learning will be obviously, it will be very fruitful, it will be very effective. I will not go into it very much, but I want to say one thing, that yes, if you have gone through revised Bloom's taxonomy, I think, yes, all of you must have gone through that, and you will find that what David said, most of them has very much similarity with that in the revised Bloom's theory. So you can go through it again once and see. And that is what very clearly, very nicely said about the learning process. Now I will not take much time because my time is only 20 minutes. Now you have already seen that in the learning process, another part is also there. We have to integrate art with learning. We have to integrate sports with learning. And this process has already started. So this is again a constructivist approach which will help students to illustrate, to experiment, to understand the concept through various forms of art. Okay? And like art integration using dance, using drama, music, visual arts, all this, it will help in teaching subjects in a more engaged way, or the right word will be in a more engaging way. And art integrated lessons develop self-awareness and self-expression. So these are some of the new ways which should enter in the learning teaching field, and the teachers must be very much aware of. That they should not deprive our students, who we always say our future. The future of India, we say, our children. So we have to give them. And there are lots of studies, done, you can go through on art integrated education and all that. So arts integrated classes brings not only joy, but makes learners very much active. And that we have to be very careful. So similarly, let me very briefly mention to you about the sports integrated. What I mentioned over here, I read MS Dhoni's book, I think not less than 3 times, because he is one of my very favorite cricket players, though I don't play cricket. But what he learned from his career, sports career, it is so nice. Exactly those words I have put. Like sports integration utilizes physical activities and helps in developing skills, which I just got it from Dhoni's book. Like collaboration, yes, we have seen in the sport field, whether football, whether any game, whether any cricket, or whatever it is. Self-initiative, self-direction, discipline, which is very important in life, teamwork, responsibility, responsible citizen, self-esteem, de-stressing, which is again very important, leadership skill, how the captain leads the teams, okay, and mental wellness. Again, it is very important. So, friends, what I want to say over here, all these will itself, when you combine them, it will make our learners very, very competent. When the question of life skills come, automatically, they will be the responsible citizens. They will be very, sort of collaborative or disciplined. What do we need in our students? What do we need in our faculties? We always speak that you must be disciplined. You must be disciplined. So, sports NEP has very rightly connected with learning or integrated with learning, and the teachers must keep it in mind that they have to give justice to whatever has been said so vividly to encourage our learners, to encourage our students to be the very good, genuine human beings, responsible citizens in life. We want those kind of children with us now. We don't want children who are irresponsible, who goes and breaks out the glasses on the street. We don't want children who goes and doesn't know how to respect women, how to respect parents. We want the children to be groomed up with the best of ethics, with the best of, the values. And these are some of the ways, either through art or through the sports, which we can integrate in the process of our learning. And this is, therefore, we have to keep it in the mind. Friends, therefore, reimagining learning, let us understand that it is the mastery of information, embedded to knowledge and understanding, and advanced use of technology also plays a key role in the learning process. And COVID has already taught us a lesson. Because that time I visited some schools in my home city, Guwahati, and I found that they are at loss because computer and online learning were totally ignored earlier. They don't know anything about it. But now, thanks God, that everybody now can use, practically schools I have observed post-COVID, that they are now handling computers well. So the technology part also, to be competent in learning, we have to also be competent in using the technology. And practically the teacher in the classroom, he or she must be ready. I'm almost, please give me a signal if I pass the time, okay? Now I just want to come to the last two slides, points. Teachers, we have talked about NEP 2020. We have talked about how the learning should be, keeping in touch with the theme of this national conference. So, who will bring this change? Obviously, you all, and we all over here. Therefore, teachers are change makers. Teachers are change makers. The Deputy Secretary of Niti Aayog, when we participated in this NEP conference in Delhi just a year back, very rightly said, the government has given us a wonderful, historic NEP 2020. But, he said but 3 times, but, it's the teachers are the one, they have to implement it. They have to implement. We have seen our earlier policies, what happened? Nothing was implemented nicely. But here in this, we got a complete change, transformation, which is the need of our students, which is the need of our learners. So we have to be the game changers, right? And we have to develop students to accept that novel, effective ideas for transforming the learning process. We have to motivate them. We have to motivate them. Teachers' work is to motivate, encourage, inspire the students. So you have to motivate. Develop the mindset of the students, how to think, not what to think. It is not a teacher will come and read something written. No, it is let them think, come out of the box. Help the students to adopt the 21st century skills, which the previous speakers also touched. I will not go into detail. The mentoring approach, actually every teacher should be a mentor in and outside the classroom. We find that our teachers, most of our teachers, think that our duty is only inside the classroom. Finished. Then घर चले जाओ, बस हो गया आज के लिए, फिर टाला जाना. No, this should not be. We have to be mentor. We should be professional teaching professionals. We should be teaching professionals. We act like it. If a learner is in need to understand something and is giving me a call at 10 p.m. at night, I should attend that call. And I am of that mentality and want all the teachers to be of that mentality that we should not, that the doctors do not ignore the patients, also we should not ignore our students. Then only through this such positive attitude, what we can do, we can bring lots of changes in the education sector and practically what is given to us right now through the National Education Policy. There is one quotation which I will end up with this: be the change to transform. Right? Be the change to transform. So it is so beautifully given over here. I jotted down just in the morning today. Be a change maker means being someone who is able to inspire students, being able to adapt to the changes around you, and being able to become the change you want to see in the world, the change you want to see and adding in your country right now. Okay, so therefore, this theme which I have used, Mananiya Pradhan Mantri's words, three very, popular words: reform, perform, transform. Definitely, we have the capacity. We can do it. Nothing is impossible. We can do it, and therefore we are going to do it. And we are getting so much of good help from NCERT. NCERT is in what I should say, the right way to get the backbone. The backbone, they're helping in everything, teachers training program. But the teachers should be also aware of. There are lots of apps, practically that Mandarpan. I know it's, when I ask some teachers that, have you ever gone through that app? So, ma'am, I'll see it from tomorrow. That means the awareness should be there, how to catch those changes, what are given to them. So this is their own responsibility. If we want to bring Vishwaguru again, establish Vishwaguru in our country, definitely we have to reform. Each and everyone has to reform the education sector and reform ourselves. We have to reform ourselves and accept this NEP 2020 with, what I should say, with great enthusiasm. This is what is wanted. I think I will end up over here. If I just go on for a long time, I can go on for a long time, but it will end up in, tiredness for you all to hear. So we have lots of people to hear also, and wonderful people, and a chief guest. I have to hear him. I'll hear him for the first time. So I'm ending up here and wish him all the best. Carry these messages and carry whatever you learned here to your respective places, to your respective institutions, and create a platform of awareness. Then that will help us all. Thank you very much. May God bless you all. And it is only today's notice, 2nd February, 1 month has gone. I can wish you Happy New Year. Let the New Year be wonderful, lovely, constructive, and meaningful. And we can bring glory to the country by being teachers. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for the wonderful speech. Now, ma'am began on a very thought-provoking note, reimagining learning, but continued throughout her speech to merge various issues in education, particularly in relation to pedagogy, within the overall idea of reimagining learning. So now we have a speech by our chief guest, Professor D.P. Goel, Director, IIM Shillong. And I'll just briefly read out to give a small introduction. And yes, while I was going through, I found also how impressive it is. Briefly, I'll just read it out. Sir is an internationally acclaimed academician and researcher. He carries over 35 years of rich experience in teaching, research, and various leadership roles in Few of the India's finest institutions, such as MDI Gurgaon, IMT Ghaziabad, and Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology. He's also a visiting professor at Aarhus University, Denmark. Professor Goel has already supervised 15 PhD research scholars, published over 60 research papers, and has been principal investigator of several sponsored research projects. He has more than a dozen books to his credit, which includes 3 highly popular textbooks in information systems area. He has also been the editor of a couple of research journals and is on the editorial board of several national and international journals. Professor Goel has been on the expert assessment selection committees of various national bodies and is also on the board of governors, academic advisory council, academic council, board of studies of a large number of business schools. Professor D.P. Goel to give a speech.
Honorable Principal, Professor Kiba, Dr. Seema Sehgal, Professor Shad Sinha, who spoke online, Professor Nilima Balpati, Professor Emeritus, Guwahati University, other dignitaries, my dear faculty colleagues, participants, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. In fact, I was wondering that after keynote speaker and the other speakers, whether there is anything left for me or not. Probably this is the disadvantage of the last speaker. But at the same time, last speaker can always take an excuse that since everything has been covered, so I will just say ditto. So I can escape maybe in 5-10 minutes. There is no need to give a long lecture. Rather, in very simple words, we can discuss or conclude. Rather, I can just borrow some of the ideas or some of the concepts from here and there, and then say, this is my today's speech. As far as when I see this kind of audience, I just go back more than 45 years of my career. When I was a student, school student, and I placed my all school teachers in such esteem, respect, that highest category probably, that because why? The school teachers, they are the people who make the foundations. They are the people who make engineers, who make doctors, who make lawyers, judges, and whatnot. If today something happens and let us say some high profile bureaucrat is there and another side my school teacher is there, probably I will forget all the protocols and just touch the feet of my school teacher. I think that this is the truth, this is the facts that even today I have seen in my own children. If we say something to my daughter, then probably she would not agree. But then, why? Because he says, this is what my man has told me. So even of course these days we all know about the Google, that sometimes now Google has just replaced some of the old such respects from the school teachers that these days probably the kids, they would say, okay, let me ask Google Baba. Because school children, everybody getting everything from the Google. In fact, this is very alarming for all of us that as an Indians, we are so proud of our heritage, our culture, our Shishya Parampara. The remarks which I just made about the school teacher is just because we are from India and we are so proud of our heritage and culture. But then, over a period of time, we also are aware of that probably there are certain delusions which has happened. Of course, there have been certain reasons. We have been a colony of the British rules, and then there have been a lot, many years that we were under the British rules. And that was the reason that why now these days the curriculum which was there, it is just content-based curriculum. It was measured that such and such a course should take 30 hours, 50 hours, 2 months, or 6 months, or 6 or 2 years a course. After 2 years, some degree, some diploma is given, and then also with the grades. And sometimes we say you are fair, you are pass, you are moderate, you are excellent, based on the content evaluation. And if we just look at today's global agenda for education, we all know the United Nations SDGs, that is Sustainability Development Goals. There are 17 such SDGs and 169 goals are there. So the education is the fourth very important sustainability development goal. And India has adopted this in 2015. And we also are aware that by 2030, we need to achieve all these 70 of SDGs, that is Sustainable Development Goals. And when we look at this education system, we know that we have been seeing certain reports in some of the leading newspapers when the gloomy picture is presented that only 20% of the engineering graduates are employable. Why? And we also know many PhD scholars, after having done PhDs, sometimes when we are sitting on the other side of the table, when we ask very simple questions, like what is the objective of this thesis? What are the methodologies you have followed? Extra. Probably sometimes it is really painful to know that the person on the other side, sometimes they fail to even tell us very simple questions. Why? This is, I think, a grave concern for all of us, that we belong to India. We are talking about all the knowledge which was available, and people from all over the world, they used to come. But then, why this is happening? Probably, I think it's the curriculum. It is the mindset which has gone into. Otherwise, as far as the teaching profession is concerned, probably the most respected profession. Reasons we have just mentioned. The founders, because facade may look very beautiful, but if foundation is not strong, what will happen with that building? So I think that this is that we are going to need to stand and we need to understand that what is the role of a teacher today and how this education is being imparted, especially at the school level, because higher education becomes later. We are the recipients of, because I am from IIM Shillong, it's a higher education institution, and we are getting the students after graduation, because it's only MBA, PhD programs. So we are the recipients of the school as well as the college education, after education. So our role becomes minimal, because to change the attitudes, to change the skill, it really becomes very, very difficult at the later stage. So the people who are sitting here, probably they are the real heroes in their own roles, because you are the people who are to just look back that what happened and how it can be corrected. Rather, I would say not correction, it's a reformation. Not even a reformation, it is a restoration. Then let us restore our own glory. Nobody should tell us that how knowledge can be imparted. We need not to get theories from the Western world. We need not to copy models from the Western world. India used to give models to all over the world. Then why today we need to dependent on the models which have been proposed by certain Western people? So I think that this is the real issue that we need to stand and we need to ask ourselves that what has went wrong and why and where. So when we just look at that why this today's seminar, I would like to congratulate the organizers of this seminar on such an important topic, curriculum. Curriculum is just not a listing of the syllabus, listing of the courses. Rather, curriculum, if we just look at broadly, curriculum talks about a learning experience of the students. It is all the touch points, it is all the interactions between a student as well as the faculty, the teachers. So I think that this is curriculum we are talking about today. It is really heartening to know it's a very, very significant topic. And when we were just looking at the topic, it was really amazing to know that it is just not only a topic which is just copied from somewhere, or it is just because it's another seminar. It talks about the focus, that what should the focus for our curriculum. Curriculum, it should not be only content based. Rather, the curriculum, it should be competency based. And when we look at the competency, I'm not going into detail what is content based. Everybody is aware of that. But also, as the competency is concerned, competence we all know that it's knowledge, it is skill, and most important, attitudes and values. So that is what the competence we are talking about. Our students who should go out of the school, they should not be just rated or ranked on the basis of how much a student can remember or memorize or can just write some answers in the examination. Rather, it should be that whether a student is competent enough or not, whether we are able to impart right values, whether he is having a positive attitude. This is what that a student should be a learner throughout his life. The learning for learning. I think that this is what is important. It is students should not say, I have now learned this much. It's a learning student. He should be out from the school, not with any negative attitude, rather it's the positive attitude. I think that a teacher can, and only a teacher can do this thing. Because most of the time, the student remains in the school. And after the school timing, the student is tired, and then, of course, he will play somewhere, and then would just go to sleep. So the most important time, most productive time, a child, and especially the early years of child, as we know, that the most productive brain, many studies, they show 85% of the brain development happens 2 to 6 years or 8 years of age. So I think that this is the most critical, most sensitive part that all of us are discussing today, curriculum and what the kind of curriculum should be. That is the experiential learning. Students it should be enjoyable for the student. Students should feel that it's a fun, at the same time, it's learning. I think that it is not only by rote that A stands for, everyone will say apple, B stands for, everyone will say boy. And then you go anywhere, north to south, and go in any school and just ask the student, A stands for, everyone will say apple. How come? Where's the creativity? Once I happened to be in Singapore and I was in one of the museums. I saw school teachers, they were teaching, showing many things to the students, school children. That's the learning experience a student would never forget. So I think that this is the real transformation that, and otherwise it's nothing new. In the Shishya Parampara in the India, we used to do that. Our children, they should just not be remembering things, cramming things. Rather, they should be taught with experience or by experiential learning. So this is really very, very important that we need to understand that what the gap is and how we can bridge this gap. Because this is how the global education agenda, this is there, and we have promised that we will be able to achieve this goal by 2030. Only 8 years to go. And all of us has to become serious. NEP 2020 has learned a lot. It is a right step in the right direction. Vision, yes, very good vision is there. And it happened after so many long years of waiting. But then implementation. I think that we now need to talk about how we need to implement as far as our NEP 20 is concerned. And once we are able to do that, we will be able to achieve the global agenda on education. Of course, as far as India is also concerned, it is really very, very important. Children tomorrow is the future of the country. That's why you people, not just teaching the students or the children, rather you are the real makers of the future of the country. As a faculty, I also take this credit because I am also a teacher. So I say that yes, we are the architect, we are the builders of the country and the future of the country. So what kind of student should be? Simple levels, as Ma'am was also talking about, that our curriculum should be, which is engaged curriculum, which is empowered curriculum, and which is ethical curriculum. Just if you just look at 3 E's, that is that first of all, engaged. Students should feel engaged in the class. He should come automatically in the class. As we sometimes we say, now I'm on the other side, being a director administrator, and then sometimes faculty says, my students, they just don't come sometimes in the class, or they just sleep in the class after some time, or they start reading some newspaper in the class. Then I say, no. These days, students are very, very smart. They come to just understand in just within 5 minutes that whether there is any value add I'm going to get from this class or not. If there is nothing to give to the student, then why a student should be wasting his time, 90 minutes of his time in the class? So, or a 90 minutes class in the class, or minutes of time is in class. So it is now the role of the teacher has totally changed. When I was a student, I know that even my teachers, they used to have only one book. Sometimes it's not told to the students. And then sometimes we search that book, I'm talking to the college days. And then we know that now all is being taught from this book. But these days, just look at that. At that time, we used to write each and everything, make notes. But these days, just look at that. Who cares for the notes? A teacher might be teaching from 2 to 3 books, but a student has access to hundreds of books. Just with one word, PPT on such and such, he will get multiple of PPTs, multiple of presentations. Today we are talking about this chat GPT. I will just say speech or this such and such function. Immediately speech would come out. And that speech is very good speech because chat GPT has now got all the material sources and would come out with a speech ready. So today, tomorrow, even the work assignments were given to the students, they would get access to such tools. Artificial intelligence tools is there. Whether we agree or not, we need to accept this. ChatGPT is such an instrument, such artificial intelligence tool applications that any assignment, any homework you give to the student, he would just say to the ChatGPT this topic, and then immediately homework is done. And also, it will make sure that it's not copied from any other work, any other student. So, what I'm trying to just highlight here is that the role of the teacher is changed, is changing. And the sooner we adapt ourselves, sooner we adopt the new technologies, the new aspirations of students, better it would be. If we really want to justice to our students, it is not that what I say is right. No ways. Those days are gone. It was a content-based curriculum. These days we're talking about experiential-based or the competency-based curriculum, where it says, let the student be free and ask as many questions as possible. Don't stop the student saying, no, stop, don't ask questions. No questions asked. Those days are gone. It's an inquiry-based learning. It is a question-based learning. We need to create an environment in the class. It is not that I'm the teacher and you have to listen to me. Those days are gone. We all know that. These days, we have only the facilitator role, as ma'am was also highlighting. Students, they're the participants. We need to give importance and we need to also understand that it is just not only the content, because MEP also says these days it is nothing like curriculum, co-curriculum, extracurriculum. Everything is important. So that is again very important that besides the cognitive development, as a teacher, we are also responsible that a student becomes ethically strong, a student becomes socially strong and emotionally strong. This is what we're talking about, resilience. We have seen the pandemic happen. All theories failed, all models failed. Nobody could predict that pandemic is there. So it means what the strategists, what the models we're talking about, what the risk models, everything failed. So any uncertain situation might happen anytime. This is great learning for all of us. That we simply cannot depend on that these are the theories, these are the models, and by applying certain such formulas, this is the outcome, this is the outcome. No. Outcome should be that these days curriculum should be outcome focused. It is not a content focused. It is not a teacher focused, it should be a learner focused. I think that this is the mindset which really needs a big change. Besides anything else, first of all, teachers, we need to change our mindset. And then we need to understand that in this competitive world, VUCA was the old word now. When we used to say it's the volatility, it's the uncertainty, it's the ambiguity, and it's the complexity. Now we have seen after pandemic, everything has failed. Such an uncertain environment. So that's the reason why the curriculum which we have today, it should be very flexible. Also, we need to adapt on a continuous basis. So quickly, I'd just like to wind up saying that in IIM Shillong, as you must be aware of that, it is the 7th IIM in the country. There are 20 IIMs in all the countries. And as far as IIM is concerned, you must be aware of that 2.5 lakh students appear in CAT, that's a common admission test. And in all the 20 IIMs putting together, there is only about 6,000 seats. So you can just see the acceptance rate. It is really, of course, that we are looking forward that there should be more and more such institutions and more number of seats so that more and more students, they can be accommodated. As far as our courses are concerned, we are having only MBA, PhD, and executive programs. But now we are also thinking to have some undergraduate programs as well, so that we can also, it's because it is giving back to society. But again, my request for you is that such institutions, colleges, they come later. The foundation, it starts at a much earlier stage. And you are the real people, you are the real architect. And my request is that such programs, such seminars, really gives a lot of learning because it's a network which is really important. Because these days you say network is network. So when you come here, it is rightly mentioned in the plan that it is dissemination of ideas. It is discussion platform. Let us also takeaways from different peers. Let us share experiences. I still remember I have long life friends when I used to meet such seminars with other friends. Here, takeaways that when you go from here with a long life friendships and you can interact because this technology has further make it be so simple that we can interacting, we can keep in touch, and we can share ideas and the knowledge. So with these words, thank you very much. I'm really grateful, organizers, for this seminar. They've given me this opportunity to interact with you. I will look forward anytime you are in Shillong, as because I'm also now almost 4 years in Shillong. I was in Gurgaon earlier. But Shillong is a lovely place, I must say. People of Shillong are so lovely, and weather of Shillong is so lovely. We are so close to nature. And people, if you just interact for some time, you'll find that they are the real nice people. And I am Shillong. It is about 30 kilometers from here. So if you happen to be any time in the future, you can just drop an email. It would be a real pleasure to say welcome to all of you. As I was rightly saying, it's a mini Bharat here that you have taken pains to come over from all over the country. So wish you all the best and thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you.
Very realistic and also very interesting overview of where we are right now in education and where we should be heading in accordance to the Sustainable Development Goals. So now, finally, I request Professor N. Pradhan, Head DEE NERIE, to please give the vote of thanks.
Esteemed chairperson of this inaugural session of National Seminar on Shifting Focus in School Curriculum from Content-Based Learning to Competency-Based Learning, Madam Professor F.G. Dakar, Principal of the Institute, esteemed Chief Guest, Professor D.P. Goel, Director IIM, Madam Professor Nilima Bhagwati, keynote speaker, our coordinator of the seminar, Dr. Seema Saigal, guests on the online, Madam Professor Swaras Sinha, and on the other side, Madam Anita Nunna, Professor Anita Nunna from NCERT, Department Division of Educational Research, and invitees and esteemed delegates, and all my colleagues, both teaching and non-teaching. So before I just give a formal vote of thanks, I would like to say only few words regarding how competency-based education is important. So, from one example, you must have heard about PISA, Program for International Student Assessment, conducted by Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, and only India participated once in this PISA that is conducted by OECD in 2009 and in 2022. So why? Because every 3 years PISA conducts test internationally. OECD members and non-member countries also participate. But why India didn't participate after 2009? It's because you'll be astonished to know that India ranked 72 or 72nd out of 73 countries participated in PISA. So this is shocking. Then question is why? It is because PISA conducts study internationally. It is not based on content. It is not based on content because contents vary from country to country. And the tests mostly in reading and science and mathematics, 3 areas they take, and they conduct tests on competencies. Competencies in mathematics, science, or whatever. So, when India ranked 72, like the countries like Pakistan and other small countries, they remained above India. Almost 71 countries remain above India. It shows that our curriculum was content based. That is one. And number two, when question of the minister declared just after declaration of NEP 2020 that the curriculum contents will be reduced to 50%, will be substantially reduced. Then many arguments went on that what our students will learn and all that. But there was an idea that only essential contents will be there and will be focusing more on competencies. So when competency-based education has started long back in different countries, and we are now thinking of competency-based education. Even in Pakistan, it started in 2010. And countries like Zimbabwe, even Hong Kong, they started still much back. So, and third thing, I used to tell you that I use this proverb in the context of competency-based education in many of my discussion. Like, don't give me fish, tell me how to fish. If you give me fish, I will eat for a day. If you will tell me how to fish, I will eat fish for the lifetime. That is what is a competency-based education. If you learn competencies, then contents can the children learn of their own. So another also example given by Professor Sarasina, of course, about boatman and 4 experts that talks about competency-based education. Now, my duty is to propose formal vote of thanks. First of all, I would like to thank the head of our NCERT family, Professor Dinesh Prasad Saklani, Director NCERT. He was, in fact, enthusiastic to attend this inaugural function through online, but he could not. But in absentia, I would like to thank him, and I would like to thank our chief guest, Professor D.P. Goel, Director IIM, for accepting our invitation in short period of time, and he talked about very valuable things like our heritage education, Indian ethos. NEP 2020 also tells about all these things, like India-centered education. He has highlighted this, and dilution of our curriculum during British period, and still that is going on. And he also talked about the dominance of content-based education in the country. He highlighted on experiential learning, inquiry-based learning, and discovery-based learning or question-based learning that is related to competency-based education, and also talked about sustainable development goal. The goal 4 talks about the quality of education, and he mostly highlighted on the role of teachers, which also NEP now and all the national education policies, 1968 policy, second policy, 1986 policy, and this 2020 policy. 2020 policy says that teachers are lesson builders, and he also talked about the importance of school education, right? The foundation stage, and he also talked about 85% of the brain develops at the initial stage, and as the child goes higher, then the responsibility becomes less in case of teachers. He has highlighted this. Coming to our uh, keynote speaker, Professor Nilima Bhagwati. In fact, what I understand by keynote address is to open the discussion. That provides a keynote address should provide food for discussion in the rest of the sessions, technical sessions. And really, her topic, reimagining learning, reform, perform and transfer. It has opened the lock so that our in rest of the technical sessions, maybe many references come, and he has talked about active learning, project-based learning, or that provides real-world experience, critical thinking, meta thinking or metacognition, Learning to learn, that is, learning to learn means competency, no other than competency. Experiential learning, learning to be enjoyable, participatory, engaging, and giving the example of experience, the stages of experiential learning by D.A. Cole, an American psychologist who talks about experiential learning. Sometimes we confuse. It is learning from experience. No, experiential learning is most reflective learning. And he has also talks about the integrative learning, integration of different art forms, sports, and also stories. And finally, she has told about teacher as change maker, highlighting the importance of the teacher, because all the things, whether meta thinking, meta cognition, critical thinking, project based learning, whatever, the teacher plays the main role. And lastly, she has told about be the change to transfer. As the teacher need to change, to bring about shift, to implement the paradigm shift, the teacher should change himself or herself. So I thank also our principal, Madam F.G. Dakar. So since he's head of the NERIE family, she has encouraged the not only the coordinator but all of us to participate, and therefore it has become an institutional function or an institutional celebration. Then I thank the other guests present here, Madam Professor Anita Nunan. She is from Educational Research Division, NCERT. She will be the chief guest in the valedictory session. And our other guest who spoke about the role of NCERT, Madam Professor Sarasina, Head Department of Teacher Education, and she highlighted the role of NCERT, like starting from preparation of policy, in all the policies, particularly for school education. NCERT always has played a key role, starting from policy, preparation of or implementation of the plan, preparation of implementation plan like Sarthak 1 and 2, and formulation of 4 national curriculum frameworks. And she has also highlighted about the different shifts that has been proposed in national education policy, like teaching learning process, in the student assessment, language education, ICT integration, and skill development. And I have already told you that she has given a very nice example of a boatman and 4 experts highlighting the importance of competency based education. So I thank Madam Dr. Sima Saigel, the coordinator. She is very close to my room. Her room is very close to my room. I see since last many days, maybe 1 month, she is trying to make it systematic and responsive to the needs of the delegates. And sometimes she also comes to me, asks me what to do. Sometimes, but why I have kept our delegates to thank the delegates is because you know how difficult it is to come to NERIE. You have come from different parts of the country. So you deserve highest thank, because you have come from different parts of the country and coming to NERIE offline, particularly those who have come offline, taking so much of pain. Our coordinator was worried about that, sir. Many are telling about online participation. Then how our seminar will be look nice, and you have really made our this initiative very successful. So the institute is indebted to all of you for being with us and beautifying this process. Then I also thank my colleagues, esteemed colleagues from teaching and non-teaching section. All are participating as members of different committees like advisory committee, scrutiny committee, organizing committee, decoration committee, accommodation committee, then refreshment committee, ICT committee, registration committee. Then also I thank the people those who are in finance section or responsibility. So this is I didn't want to name the people because almost all the members of the faculty, teaching and non-teaching, also guest house people, they are working day and night. Therefore, I thank all my colleagues here and all the those who are present here. Thank you very much, Dr. Sima. I think I have done my responsibility. Thank you very much.
So now inaugural session is over. So just outside here we have the much required tea. But just before that, we will have a national anthem. Girls?
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जय गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
So now
भारत
जनगण मन